and top Tinseltown stars. Well, the Sunshine Kids are getting just that. Anna Marcos follows them around for a day and tells us what it's all about.
A police motorcade takes these lucky kids from the Sheraton Universal Hotel down into Hollywood and Hollywood Boulevard. But the ride-along is only the beginning. The Sunshine Kids Foundation helps kids fighting cancer by giving them dream days like this one.
And to faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer.
On this dream day, the 28 teens get pledged in as LAPD cops for a day and get some swag as well. Then it's on to Tinseltown in a big way as they enter Raleigh studios, greeted by a clapping audience.
Yeah, today's been really, really cool, and we feel like royalty, so it's pretty great.
Cancer or not, it's a lot. Like, you're a survivor, you're strong.
The kids come from all over the U.S. and even Canada and get treated to an entire week of all things Hollywood.
We try to treat them like VIPs. We try to give them the Hollywood experience.
We've been doing this for 33 years, bringing just a moment of joy back into their lives that cancer took away.
G.W. Bailey, actor and executive producer for the TV show Major Crimes, is front and center when it comes to helping out the kids. He and the studio treat them to a studio tour, lunch, and a screening of the show Major Crimes.
Who was your favorite character in Major Crimes?
Oh, it was you, of course.
Oh, well, of course.
For the last 10 years, the LAPD has pitched in to help make the kids' visit extra special.
We admire your courage. We're very proud of each and every one of you. This is a great way that we get to show in a small way that we're with you. And your fight is our fight.
Their day with LAPD normally comes out number one, and we're very proud of that fact.
Well, okay, there's that, and the hobnobbing with the stars is pretty cool, too. All in all, a 5-star day and a 5-star week, one these kids will likely never forget. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Sunshine Kids Foundation serves some 70 hospitals around the country, giving kids dream trips to places like LA and other major cities and attractions. Well, high-end Italian dining will be one option on the menu when renovations to this shopping mall are finito. Gil Reyes has more from Century City.
The Westfield Group, with malls in Sherman Oaks, Topanga, and Arcadia, previews what it calls its greatest shopping center to date.
Imagine wandering to the most fashion-forward shops, or experience fresh-to-farm table dining, or having a beer after work in Italy's new rooftop garden. And a week after we open, I invite you all to that garden, and I'll buy you a beer.
First rounds on CEO Peter Lowy when his new Westfield Century City is unveiled. At this news conference, the company announces renovations throughout the entire shopping center, which first opened in 1964. Plans include doubling the amount of parking, a new 2-level Macy's store, also the West Coast's first Italy marketplace, with high-end Italian dining, a bakery, even a cooking school. You will also be able to buy fresh produce here and take it home if you wish. Westfield says 10,000 construction and permanent jobs will be added, generating more than $1 billion to our economy.
And then after that $1 billion is invested, we estimate we'll get $1 billion for the county and city of Los Angeles just in the economic activity and the sales taxes that will come out of this, which means we can put money into roads and money to protect critical services like our fire and police.
Stores are already slowly closing for renovations. The first phase of mall construction is expected to be completed around holiday time 2016. In Century City, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The Purple Line will also have a stop near the mall in about 10 years. Well, now may be a good time to seriously consider finally opening up that small business you've always wanted. As Gil Reyes reports, the city's application and permitting process is about to pick up speed.
Ribbon cutting day?
We don't have one yet.
Ask most any aspiring small business owner, getting your bar or restaurant to finally open in the city could take weeks, months, sometimes years, with all the necessary paperwork. But LA Mayor Eric Garcetti says soon the city's long and often confusing application process could be completed in a single day.
To make sure that we navigate the licensing and registration process for a small business in under 24 hours, because there's no reason it should take any longer than that.
The City of LA's idea is an open-source internet portal to streamline permitting. This innovation wins top prize in a national contest hosted by the U.S. Small Business Administration. At the future site of the LA Clean Tech Incubator, the SBA's Maria Contreras Sweet says most of the nation's job growth is attributed to small businesses, so we need to support them.
When you support small, you're creating local jobs in our own neighborhoods. We're employing our own families.
City leaders say the $250,000 prize money will help launch the web portal within a year. In downtown L.A., Gil Reyes for L.A. This Week.
Now, other U.S. cities will be able to replicate LA's website to speed up their permitting applications as well. While the city attorney gets a special honor, a popular summer program is extended, and a grand entrance is planned for a city park. All these stories and more in City Beat. City Attorney Mike Feuer received an Ethel Levitt Award for humanitarian service at the 34th Annual Levitt and Quinn Stand for Justice Gala held at the Skirball Cultural Center. Levitt and Quinn is a nonprofit family law center that provides affordable legal representation to low-income families. The annual gala recognizes family and civil law attorneys, business people, and community leaders who seek justice for underserved communities. Feuer was one of several honorees to accept an award for helping expand access to legal services for low-income individuals.
The importance of the work is in courtrooms and courthouses throughout the state every day, where people who don't have lawyers suddenly do have a meaningful way to vindicate their rights in the justice system.
Mayor Eric Garcetti launched Fall Friday Nights, an 8-week extension of the Summer Night Lights program that will keep 8 LA parks open late on Friday nights, with staff and activities like dance and sports. The program is geared towards young people to keep them occupied and off the streets. Officials say the program gives families safe places to play, learn, and grow. Councilmember Paul Koretz gets in a little workout at the new outdoor fitness zone at the Palms Recreation Center on Overland Avenue. Koretz, the Department of Rec and Parks, and other community members came together for the grand opening. The new outdoor fitness equipment replaces what was just a grass field. The Friends of West LA provided a donation to Palms Park for the installation of the new fitness zone, which includes 5 pieces of workout equipment. Up to 13 people can get in a workout at any given time.
This will help our kids and adults get fit and stay fit.
Councilman Gilbert Cedillo joined the Department of Recreation and Parks, the Bureau of Engineering, and LA Sanitation for a groundbreaking ceremony to celebrate upcoming entryway improvements at the south entrance to MacArthur Park. The 7th and Alvarado Gateway Plaza will welcome residents and visitors to the park with an arc of seat walls anchored by 2 cultural interpretive 15-foot steel pillars that will be lit and identify the park and immediate community as MacArthur Park and Westlake. Officials say the lake project will improve the water quality of the lake, reduce the lake's fresh water usage by 2.8 million gallons per year, and eliminate discharge into the city's storm drain system. Well, it was a bittersweet day for an LAPD horse and those who have worked with him. As he says goodbye to one journey, he begins another. Raja Goel has more.
Meet Cowboy. He has worked with LAPD officer and head trainer Joe Willie since the day he joined the force. Cowboy is now retiring from the LAPD, but his work is not done. He's moving to another place.
It's a day of mixed emotions. It's a sad day, no doubt about it. He's been an integral part of our program, but we want to be consistent with the horse's nature and what he's really about, and there's only so much that a horse can endure in terms of the kinds of situations that we put him in.
Cowboy has been working with the LAPD since he was 3 years old and has been working for 18 years. From protecting the president to Lakers celebrations, he's pretty much seen it all.
Probably most significantly, this horse has participated in the training of every policeman who's been here since he's been here.
Now, he will be bringing comfort to those with disabilities. Cowboy will be part of Mach 1, a therapeutic riding program at the Pasadena Equestrian Center.
We take horses and put our children and adults with disabilities on them to give them a sense of balance and hand-eye coordination, independence. So the horse that's coming in today, Cowboy, will be used mostly for riders that want to become independent.
The best thing that we're doing for this horse is giving him a job. He will actually have a job where children will be doting on him and brushing him and pampering him, and he's going to get treats and he's going to be spoiled.
For now, Cowboy's riding days are far from over as a new adventure lies ahead. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Now, Cowboy is the second LAPD horse to be donated to the program. Well, as part of his ongoing work to green the valley, Councilmember Bob Blumenfield cut the ribbon on the new Blumenfield Waterwise demonstration garden at the West Valley Municipal Center in Reseda. That's the focus of This Week in Tweets.
3, 2, 1.
Councilmember Bob Blumenfield's office tweeted a video of the ribbon cutting in Reseda, posting, "Ribbon cutting at our Waterwise demonstration garden. With 20,000 square feet of turf removed, we can save 500,000 gallons a year." Blumenfield's office retweeted a post from the LADWP, which showed a pic of the new water-friendly garden saying, "Waterwise demonstration garden to save 500,000 gallons of water a year. Create your own." The LA Conservation Corps tweeted, "Very proud of our Corps members who worked on this beautiful Waterwise demo garden in CD3. And the LA Public Library also tweeted about the event, posting, "Proud to be part of today's Waterwise garden ribbon cutting and excited to see it become a beautiful blooming field." And that's a look at This Week in Tweets. Well, at 70, 80, sometimes 90 years young, many of LA's seniors continue to make a difference in our neighborhoods. As Gil Reyes reports, one councilman threw a party to say thanks.
The young at heart having a good old time.
Oh, wow, I'm doing a salsa and a little merengue. Hey, it's fun.
Hundreds of seniors gathering here at the LA Convention Center for this special luncheon and talent show hosted by Councilman Curran Price. These are people from churches and senior centers from the Councilman's South LA district primarily, and many of them don't mind telling you that they're remaining very active even during their retirement.
Senior fraud is the #1 form of elder abuse in the country.
Adrian Omansky, a retired teacher, now leads an acting troupe made up entirely of seniors. These actors visit community centers and perform skits about hidden senior scams on the internet.
If you see anything on the computer that doesn't look right, delete. If someone calls you and says to you that you owe money to the IRS, this is one of the #1 scams in the United States.
We need more seniors to become active.
Amos Freed, a retired attorney, uses his legal skills to set up food assistance programs for the needy.
This is something I'm basically committed to try to help out in this issue, working with the council people.
The seniors bonded over chicken lunch and entertainment.
It's a fun way to celebrate our community, bringing the community together, and celebrating the special role that senior citizens play and continue to play in our community.
Because for them, there's still much more to contribute. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
And of course, lunch and entertainment were all free. Well, it was a long time coming, but residents in Woodland Hills finally can enjoy a new community amenity that honors local first responders. This fire truck represents former Fire Station 84, which used to be housed here at Canoga Avenue and Costanzo Street in Woodland Hills from 1949 until 2007. When the station was moved to a new location. And for nearly 8 years before becoming this play area for kids, officials say the vacant lot was an eyesore in the community, falling into disrepair and creating blight in the neighborhood. But not anymore, as the site has been transformed into a neighborhood attraction.
I am delighted. We just had this baby in March, and it's exciting for me to take walks in the neighborhood and feel comfortable in the neighborhood and stop over here and just sit on the grass and play with him, and one day he'll be able to climb up there, so it's nice.
As the lot sat empty, Councilmember Bob Blumenfield reached out to the community to get their ideas on what they wanted at the site. The majority agreed on a park that would honor the old fire station. And after 2 years, they got what they asked for. Community members recently joined Blumenfield, the Department of Rec and Parks, and other city officials to help unveil and dedicate 2 new plaques.
It's not only a great amenity, a parklet for this area, but also a great testament to our public safety folks and specifically for our firefighters.
Residents say the new park adds value to the neighborhood by providing a place where families can gather and spend time. The $1 million park includes a red play structure in the shape of a fire truck, shade canopies, and a drought-tolerant garden.
This is probably the best use of the property that I could think of over the years.
The unveiling comes several months after a ribbon-cutting ceremony introducing the park to the community.
We really like the theme. It's fun. The children seem to really like it, so we're excited about it.
A fire truck that kids can call their own, and what can be better than that? The park will be open from dawn to dusk. Well, a fundraising event for you and your best friend, Beethoven, comes to life as the LA Philharmonic kicks off its winter season, and a ride at Griffith Park that will scare your socks off. All this in this week's Things to Do. Here's your chance to spend some quality time with your best bud. For 19 years, Best Friends Animal Society has hosted Strut Your Mutt, the fundraising walk and festival that helps raise money for local animal welfare organizations in cities around the country. And this year, they're upping the fun quotient by adding the timed 5K race to even more Strut Your Mutt events. So leash up your pup, unleash that inner athlete, and join the fun. Runners will start ahead of walkers, and after the race, awards will be given to the first place male and female finishers, as well as their pups. All runners get a great Strut Your Mutt technical shirt, while dogs receive their own sporty bandana just for participating. The event takes place on Saturday, October 10th at Exposition Park, located at 700 Exposition Park Drive. For tickets, prices, and to sign up, visit strutyourmutt.org. The LA Phil's winter season kicks off with the dramatic works of Beethoven for both young ones and adults. Pioneering symphonies for youth mix music with fun and fantasy for children ages 5 to 11. As part of the Immortal Beethoven Festival, the Sim Bolvar Symphony Orchestra of Venezuela takes us on an imaginary tour of the house where Beethoven was born. Come for the chance to experience a live orchestra through the fantasy of theater in some of the most exciting music ever written. Each performance is preceded by a choice of art workshops, including an instrument petting zoo, dance, and more. The performance takes place Saturday, October 10th at 11 a.m. at the Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown LA. For tickets to this concert and other Immortal Beethoven performances, visit laphil.com. For thrill seekers, check out the Los Angeles Haunted Hayride. The famed Griffith Park attraction takes folks on a ride through the old zoo where they'll face the underworld and portrayals of the 7 deadly sins. This year features new mazes, interactive theater, a 40-foot-long Leviathan, and returning favorites such as the Scary Go Round, House of Mirrors, and more. Tickets range from $30 to $58. The adventure begins at 7 p.m. at 4730 Crystal Springs Avenue in Griffith Park. Visit LosAngelesHauntedHayride.com for more. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. And from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
I'll be home in a minute.
Well, the party's just getting started, so hurry home, honey.
Talk to you later.
Yes, good job.
Slow down. Your family is waiting for you. Watch the road.
Well, they will have to take two, 'cause I've got trouble, holding this man of mine. It seems as always.
Moving is so much of who we are. It's easy to take it for granted. Multiple sclerosis stops people from moving. We exist to make sure it doesn't. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society is a collective of passionate individuals united by a common goal to address the challenges of each person whose life is affected by MS. We believe that moving is not just something you can or can't do, but rather is who you are. That if you are alive, you move along with, because of, and in spite of the great big turning world. Join the movement, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, at nationalmssociety.org.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Today is Friday, October 9th. I'd like to welcome you to your city council meeting at our Valley City Hall. It's a pleasure to be here in Van Nuys. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonnet, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezar, Caress, Krakoye, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Fuentes moves, Englander seconds. Next.
Committee to resolutions for approval.
Price moves, O'Farrell seconds.
Mr. President, do you wish to run through the agenda?
Yes, I do. Look at me, Mr. O'Farrell. Is there something different? Go right ahead.
Item 1 is an item noticed for public hearing. There is request to continue items 1A and B to October 23rd, and the Department of Building and Safety reports that item 1C may be received and filed inasmuch as the invoice was partially rescinded and the balance paid.
Okay, without objection. Mr. Cedillo.
Number 2 special.
I don't know if we got there yet, but still, we will do that.
Be ready.
So go ahead. We're ready. Continue, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, do you wish to take without objection the 2 items that were continued?
Yes.
And there's a card on item 1C.
Okay, so what does that leave us with?
That leaves nothing in that section.
So let's move on, and we want to hold item 2, call it special for Mr. Cedillo.
Okay. Items 3 through 6 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, cards on items 4 and also item 5. A motion is forthcoming. Do you wish to hold that one on the desk?
We'll hold that, so that means we can vote on 6.
Yes, items 3 and 6.
3 and 6. Okay, let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, that brings council to presentations or items called special.
If I can defer to Mr. Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes has the floor.
Good morning, colleagues. Today is October 9th, and more importantly, tomorrow is Buddy Walk Day in Los Angeles, October 10th, here in City Hall, Los Angeles, not City Hall, Van Nuys. Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial copy of chromosome 21 and is the most commonly occurring genetic condition. 1 in every 691 babies in the United States is born with Down syndrome, irrespective of race or economic means. People with Down syndrome experience cognitive delays, but the effect is usually mild to moderate and is not indicative of the many strengths and talents that each individual possesses. For over 36 years, the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles has successfully fulfilled its mission to enhance the welfare of people with Down syndrome and their families through the development and promotion of community needs, including education, medical information, counseling, and lastly, public awareness and acceptance. This year marks a special milestone for the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles as they get ready to celebrate their 21st annual Buddy Walk tomorrow at our downtown City Hall. This is the 3rd time in the organization's history that the Buddy Walk is held in our great city and in front of our beautiful building. Last year, more than 1,700 people participated in the Buddy Walk to celebrate the many incredible talents of this community of members with Down syndrome. The efforts of this organization and Buddy Walk would not be possible without the help of some very key people, some of which colleagues are yourselves. Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield, for your participation and support, financial support, as well as Ms. Martinez and Mr. Buscaino. The people standing here with me today represent just a small sliver of everything that you're going to see tomorrow. With us today is Jimmy Vaughn. He's the president of the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles, and he's also joined by Claudia Hernandez, who's the vice president, and of course some of our students from local schools. Jimmy? Give them a big round of applause, everybody.
Yeah, let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you. So on behalf of the community and as board president, it's truly an honor to be here today. The primary mission of the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles is to enhance the welfare of people with Down syndrome and their families through the development and promotion of education, counseling, employment, and recreational programs. We strive to increase public awareness, understanding, and acceptance of Down syndrome and have been doing so for over 35 years. When families first come to DSALA, whether they are expectant parents or new parents, we help provide them with accurate information and, at their request, connect them with other families. Programs like our Saturday seminars and parent support groups bring families together to share information, resources, and inspiration all over the greater Los Angeles area. Sports, acting, dancing, teen, and reading programs help our children learn skills, make friends, and be involved in different events throughout the community. New Family Barbecue and Mom's Cruise allow mothers the opportunities to start friendships that will last a lifetime. And our annual Sundown and Buddy Walk fundraisers help raise awareness and create a culture that fully includes more than 400,000 Americans with Down syndrome. Thank you for providing a voice and for supporting our efforts as we advocate for the value and acceptance and inclusion of people with Down syndrome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so very much. Well said.
Here's a little certificate on behalf of the City of Los Angeles congratulating everybody here today and tomorrow for Buddy Walk, 21st year, third time in City Hall. The festivities begin from 11 to 1, registration and program, and the walk around City Hall begins at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So we hope to see everybody there. Give them a big round of applause.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go take a couple of photos. Come on, everybody.
Good job, Mr. Fuentes. Good job. Let us... Madam Clerk, I think we can vote on item 1C. So let's just open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right.
And, Mr. President, just that item was received and filed in as much as the invoice was partially rescinded and balance paid.
Fine. Okay, we're going to move to item 4 right now. I want to call Marion Fogler and Donna Pearman on item 4. Please come forward. Item 4. Come on now. Come on, Marion.
Yes. Well, I didn't know I was going to be the first. Good morning. Yes, this here is about Innovation Fund for the budget and of design for prototype sessions. Well, where are they coming up with the money to do this if they're having a budget crisis? So, where is the information about this before you go ahead and adopt this item before us? I'd like to see the proof in the pudding that you need to have this done. And because we need to be more consciously aware of our budget because, as you may know, from the city level to the federal, we're reaching a deficit, and Obama said he's not going to lift up the
Stay on the
cap.
subject, Marion.
Okay. I'm just saying is we need to watch how we're spending our money here and what we're doing with it, since obviously we don't have enough money to open up video conferencing for the San Fernando Valley to downtown. We need to have this 25,000.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. Thank you so much. Donna Pearman, please come forward.
Crazy. $927,644 for an innovation fund. Now we're going to allocate the $25,000. So apparently you used most of these $927,644. So I guess it was 900-2644. So apparently you know how to use the money very fast, and now you got $25,000 you didn't think to use, and still we don't know what the $927,644 was used for because we don't care, and now we won't know where the $25,000 goes for either. So I guess we're totally in the dark. Thank you very much.
Okay, on that item, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Forthwith, per Mr. Blumenfield. What do we have on the special? Is it special or supplemental? Why don't we deal with that item at this point?
Okay. Mr. President, do you wish to recess the regular and begin the special?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll recess and then we'll go into the special. Call a roll.
Blumenfield, Bonnet, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Gregorio, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President. Item 7 is an item for which a public hearing has been held.
Okay, so there are no... Mr. Koretz.
Before that item, I'd just like to briefly introduce Nancy.
No.
Can we not?
As soon as we get out, I'll come right back to you.
Okay.
Now, we're in the special, Mr. Blumenfield.
This is for item number 7.
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to ask for a very technical amendment in recommendation 1. It says provided in Article 2, Section F. It should read Article 2, Section 2F. We've submitted the amendment. It's completely technical in nature, but we have to do it.
Okay. So let's vote on this as amended. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
So let's adjourn the special, return to the regular. Okay, before we leave, forthwith. Okay, so now we will adjourn, move back to the regular, and I will defer to or call on Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce Nancy Volpert and her students from American Jewish University. They are studying municipal government, and they're here to see the council in action. So let's give them a hand.
Okay, now as we're processing some items, I'm going to take a couple of public comment cards. Miriam Fogler, come up. This is general public comment. Okay, so you can say whatever you want. I'm going to call on you, and I'm calling on Donna Pearman. So go ahead, general public comment.
Today, folks, we're embarking on a new beginning in the United States of America, is that we need to bring our fiscal house in order here, starting from the city on up to the federal. We're appointing a new House Speaker. I hope that he'll be able to put Obama back in his place and finally either impeach Obama or to have him sent to The Hague and have him tried and put on a trial for war crimes against humanity, for treason, treachery, and allowing women to be raped, boys being buried alive in Baghdad, and gay people being thrown from the buildings, and allowing all the wars taking place now. I'm afraid for our country, for our world. A lot of people don't realize Jews are going to probably have to go back to Israel one day because of this. It's inevitable. World War III is coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fogler.
It's just as the city council and our mayor doesn't care about the right to speak in the valley, closing our video conferencing, making us go hours out of our way downtown. They only care about the special pet projects like the Great Street Initiative to take everybody out of their cars and spend all the money on the new rail projects, not even worrying about the rail projects they have now and upgrading them and making them good, and our local buses. The San Fernando Valley needs to pull out of the County of Los Angeles, City of Los Angeles, who need to succeed from LA City Council to take our tax money back that they're throwing away. Similarly, Obama doesn't care about the middle-class America. He doesn't care about Iran. He makes our deals with Iran, even though it could kill us. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about Russia. What happened over there with Syria, and he wants to bring everybody in and just obliterate us.
Thank you. Jason Ackerman and Candido, come forward. General public comment.
Good morning, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the council. Welcome to beautiful Van Nuys. Thank you for being here. Just wanted to reiterate a couple of things I've mentioned several times before. We would really like it if you guys came out here more than once every 2 months, and that if when you came out here you were discussing valley issues, not stuff on the other side of the hill that we have no real business weighing in on. I'm continuing my work to try and keep Tapia Brothers on their entire farms plot in the Sepulveda Basin. I'd appreciate some cooperation when we have some more concrete, when we have a motion and we want to get a meeting together, including Council Districts 5 and 6. Please do bring back video conferencing to Van Nuys, because, or at least get a Google Hangout going so we can join from home and not even have to schlep out here, so you guys don't have to pay security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. Candido, please.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members. Candido Maris, proud resident of the 12th District, and honored to be represented by Mr. Mitch Englinger. Mr. President, thank you for being here in the San Fernando Valley. Some people think the San Fernando Valley is kind of on the downscale. It's not. All you have to do is live in the 12th District. Some people say I come here and I brag about the councilman and the works that he and John Lee are doing out in that district. But, you know, I'm not kissing anybody's butt. The facts are the facts. And we have a lot of great things here in the San Fernando Valley, including Mr. Bill Ratner and the Naval Cadets. He's here today, and I'm honored to be in the same room with him today. He does a great program with the kids. There was a story in the Van Nuys, in the news yesterday about the Van Nuys Jeopardy program. It's one of the oldest and one of the finest, and yet they showed this decrepit building. They said some things that weren't too nice, but you know what, Mr. President? That's what happens when you don't have the support of the community. That's what happens when you don't have leadership behind you. Some of the districts here have some of the best Jeopardy programs, and our officers are doing everything they can to help our children. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Bloomingfield, are you ready for your presentation? Okay, we'll defer to Mr. Bloomingfield at this time.
All right, if I could have all my Canoga Park folks come on up. Hurrah. Okay, perfect. As they're making their way up here, let me tell you why we're here on this presentation today. We are here, as everybody behind me knows, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Canoga Park being named All-America City. It's pretty exciting for our community out here. Canoga Park is a small community in the LA scheme of things, about 75,000 people, big compared to a lot of cities across America. And this is a very prestigious honor that the city was able to win 10 years ago. It's handed out by the National Civic League. They choose 10 communities in the United States to hand the award out to. And the criteria includes public participation and civic action, diversity and inclusiveness, greater democracy and higher performing governments, hope and nurturing successful communities. When we first got this award, it was back in 2005. Some of you may remember my predecessor, Dennis Zine, flew out to Atlanta, Georgia, and with a number of folks from Canoga Park, to receive this amazing honor. Canoga Park is the only community in Los Angeles, in the city of Los Angeles, that is recognized with this honor. It's not to make all of you in your communities jealous, but to inspire you to do this, the great kind of work that these folks have done. Canoga Park is an amazing community. It's a community where the only Valley Family Source Center is located for the West Valley is in Canoga Park. The Orange Line runs right through Canoga Park and up Canoga Avenue. We've got the historic Madrid Theater where lots of things happen, and it's a community that's striving to do better all the time, and we have an active group of folks. So wanted to be here to honor everyone here, present this award, and I think, Corinne, you wanted to say a few words, was I told, or Corinne or Bill, or both of you coming up together? Corinne and Bill, come on up from Neighborhood Council.
Thank you, Councilmember Blumenfield. Council President Wesson, Councilmember, good morning. This is really a thank you to you, and thank you to all the participants in the community who have made this celebration possible on September the 12th. We all came together and we almost did the impossible, but it happened. And that's what the Canoga Park Neighborhood Council did to preserve the history for the many generations to come. And so thank you to everyone. We all couldn't be here, otherwise it will be a full room, but we're represented here. So thank you again, Councilmember Blumenfield.
And thank you for all that you do.
Yes, on behalf of the Canoga Park Historical Society, we also send our thanks to the council members here, and especially to Bob and his staff for helping us put a bookmark in the history of these proceedings to honor what Los Angeles is. And it's a group of communities working together. And that together part needs nurturing, it needs honoring, and we're very happy about how this has been indelibilized in our history in Los Angeles. So thank you on behalf of the Canoga Owens Mouth Historical Society.
All right, let's give it up for all of them. We'll do a little picture here. Let's give it up for the Canoga Park, All America City. Even though this has the wrong words in it. We'll stand over here. Okay.
It's getting complicated.
See everybody?
All right. Let's do, I'm going to look to Mr. Harris Dawson. We're going to move to item 5.
Mr. President, we move and encourage acceptance and approval of the application.
Okay. With that said, let us open the roll.
And also, Mr. President, an amending motion correcting the boundaries has been circulated as well.
Okay. So on that, let us open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right. All right. Mr. Cedillo, I'm going to move to item 2. But what I'd like to do first, with your permission, is I do have, I think, 2 cards. I'd like to take the cards first and then defer to you. So I think I have a Beverly Kenworthy and a Martha Cox, and I can't make out the last name. So if you guys would please come forward.
And Mr. President, as she's coming, just for the record, an amending ordinance has been circulated.
Okay, cool. Good to see you.
Good morning, council members. Thank you for having us. My name is Beverly Kenworthy. I'm with the California Apartment Association. Before you today is part of our efforts on creating a seismic retrofit ordinance for soft story and concrete buildings. What's before you is satisfactory to us with the timeline. It's been extended, so we really appreciate the work on that, as well as some of the demolition language has been taken out. So all of the efforts by the Housing Committee and Councilmember Cedillo and Councilmember Fuentes and Price and Harris-Dawson, we appreciate all of those things. So today we are supportive. We still have the biggest outstanding issue is the pass-through and how landlords, especially the smaller mom and pop landlords, are going to be able to pay for this. And we are currently working on that. We understand that the CEO is working with financial lenders and also the PACE program, which is turning out to be very exciting. We have a number of PACE providers. But despite all of those things, we still have to find a way to help pay for that and help landlords be able to do this work. And that is all going to be down into the details of the pass-through. So we are continue to be committed to this issue, and we thank you for the work so far.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning. Martha Cox-Nittickman. I'm with the Building Owners and Managers Association. We represent about 300 commercial office buildings in the LA area. And BOMA would also like to indicate our support for the seismic ordinance. We've been working with the mayor's office and some of your offices about 2 years, and we think it's going to be fine. We do know that there will be impacts on the commercial and the concrete building side, and we want to bring those to your attention. I provided a letter for you. You should have that. I brought it here today. And the three issues I want to highlight, because of the financial impact on losing tenants for maybe up to a year from commercial buildings, we're hoping that some of these items can be addressed. Permit and inspection fees should be waived. We'd also like to have the gross receipts tax waived for the tenants that would move back into the commercial buildings. We want to provide some kind of incentive. The owner will have lost a lot of money over that year or two that it takes to do that. So we'd like to see something addressed in that nature that would encourage those tenants to move back. And finally, for demolished buildings, we hope they can contain some of their non-conforming rights to build the building back in the way it was, stronger but no bigger. Just put it the way it was. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working with the council.
Thank you. And Mr. City Attorney, that concludes public comment on this item. Now, I'm going to defer to Mr. Cedillo, but Mr. Cedillo, before I do that, I do want to commend you and all of the members of your committee for being bold and aggressive. I also want to highlight that if you want to look to an example of leadership, I think that this is an example of our mayor, Eric Garcetti, leading. This council does big things and bold things, and I know that I'm proud to be a part of it. So with that said, if you could walk us through this. Mr. Gilbert Cedillo.
Mr. President, thank you. Thank you. You know, there's days that this job is very challenging, and we have to do all that we can to motivate ourselves. And then there's other days like today, Mr. President, in which we come forward very proud of the work product and very proud of what we're about to do. I want to thank my committee, Mr. Fuentes, Mr. Dawson Hayes Dawson, Mr. Harris Dawson. I'm going to get that right.
It's the allergies.
I'm trying to be formal here, you know that.
I know you are.
Mr. Price. Who else is in our committee? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And Mr. Weezar. Right? Let me say this, Mr. President. I'm really proud of both the committee because there was a lot of dialogue, a lot of digging down deep. But I'm really proud of the process that took place here. An initiative put forth by the mayor, us taking jurisdiction, moving it through our process. And then you heard from two important stakeholders here. You heard from the Apartment Association, you heard from BOMA. I don't recall a time where we've brought everybody together to reach the solution. It's not our solution. It's not the solution of any particular member here, although we all had a say in it. But it is really a consensus that's come forth from the stakeholders, and the activists and the advocates and the renters themselves. And that's what makes this, I think, the better and best legislation. It makes it what it can be. So the question before us is really, what do we do and how will we do things when the earthquake comes? There's no question that we're going to have an earthquake. It's just whether or not we're prepared. And in here, we've laid out the groundwork for us to move forward with the seismic retrofit that needs to be done. And it's been vetted through the committee, as we talked, but most importantly, through a series of meetings with the stakeholders. Now, there is a component part that's missing that's essential, but that we're not there yet, and that is the question of the financing. And we want to do all that we can to make this as affordable and as minimal as possible, both on the landlords and the building owners and the tenants. There is no doubt when you heard the Chamber of Commerce this week, tenants in this city, the most expensive city to live in, are hardly in a position to bear the burden of the costs. On the other hand, apartment owners and landlords are also in a similar position, hardly in a position to bear the cost. So what we want to do is make sure that we have all the options on the table before we move into that part. We have legislation in Sacramento. We hope the governor's listening. We have made great progress with PACE from 2 providers to 6 providers. We've written language in there to protect consumers. We want to look at the Earthquake Authority. We think that it doesn't make sense for them to sit on billions of dollars that they're prepared to spend after the earthquake. We'd like to spend it before to minimize the damage. We're looking to see what the feds can do. So we want to create a full menu of resources before we start talking about dividing up those resources. And so it makes sense for us to proceed. But on the question of whether or not that today is the day that we move forward with an ordinance to protect the city, there is no question about that. Every witness that came forward said, this must be done, and it must be done now. And so I want to commend the committee. I want to commend the participants, the mayor, and you, Mr. President, for giving us the ability, giving us the space to move this forward and do so in a way that really reflects the best that the city can provide. It's a great example. Sometimes, we get accused of being a little competitive. I think we're doing a better job than San Francisco. I think what we've done builds on that, and it really prepares us to be the safest city in America. I read this morning that this is the most aggressive and the boldest, and our city deserves no less. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
And again, I'm just really proud of you and the work that you've done, and our mayor. And this is bold. That's what LA is. Mr. Englander.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I was proud to join with Councilmember Cedillo on this motion. My district has been really the epicenter of disaster in the city of Los Angeles. And from the Sylmar earthquake originally, which was in CD 12, the Northridge earthquake 21 years ago, this is probably one of the most significant public safety and housing all-in-one ordinances and piece of legislation that we'll vote on while we're here on the Los Angeles City Council. In 1994, 21 years ago, January 17th at 4:30 in the morning, a 6.7 magnitude earthquake shook this city. It was felt as far away as Las Vegas. 58 people died that day. 5,000 people were injured. Approximately 125,000 people were displaced from their housing. Damage was estimated all the way up to $40 billion 21 years ago. The magnitude of this earthquake has sent shockwaves into our building codes and what we've done. And even before that, my predecessor, one of my predecessors, Hal Burnson, was known in this city as Mr. Earthquake. He brought the shaky, quaky van to teach kids in elementary schools how to prepare themselves and bring that information home to their parents. He brought in rules and legislation like strapping water heaters, the shutoff valves for gas on every single home that's either created, built, or sold in the city of Los Angeles now is required to have an earthquake shutoff valve for their gas because of Hal Burnson. It was so many initiatives that not only he took on, but Greg Smith as well. Greg Smith reached out to Dr. Lucy Jones and brought her into the city of Los Angeles, the U.S. geological expert in the country, and created a unique partnership, which I'm so honored that our mayor, Eric Garcetti, codified and took it even further. The damage that was felt up to 85 miles away from the epicenter has been something we've been talking about for the last 21 years and what we can do about it. The Northridge Meadow Apartments collapsed that killed 16 people. Most casualties and damage occurred in multi-story wood frame buildings with unstable first floors, such as those with parking right below the units on the bottom floor. Those that had not been seismically retrofit. They're also our most vulnerable housing stock in our city today. And mind you, it's 21 years later. They're also the most vulnerable people living in them. These are seniors, families, disabled, because it's old housing stock. Since Northridge, as with every major earthquake, comes a new understanding of the way in which buildings respond to them. Advances in technology associated with the testing systems, design and seismic modeling software, structural connections, structural forms, and retrofitting have accelerated dramatically. Not to mention the concrete, soft-story, non-ductile buildings we have thousands of people working in each and every day. Northridge occurred at 4:30 a.m. Imagine it occurring in the middle of the day. The time to act is now. This is reasonable, responsive legislation, and I want to urge everybody to vote yes on this so we can move forward and protect not only this housing stock, but the people here in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, and I do want to recognize all of the leaders from your district that have helped bring us to this point. Okay, with that said, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first, I want to join you in commending the mayor and Councilmember Cedillo and his committee and the stakeholders to come up with a really remarkable visionary solution to this problem. I just have one clarifying question. I know a few people were uncertain after Wednesday's committee meeting about how the deadlines and milestones work and what has to be done within a year of notification, 2 years, etc. So I wonder if somebody could walk us through those steps if you have the ability to do that. Is there anybody here that is up on that?
If I could,
yes, go.
I just recognized one of our experts that I found in the crowd. Dr. Lucy Jones is here, and I'd like to recognize her, and she may be able to answer questions for all of you as well. But if we can give her a huge
well, she
round of
deserves
applause.
it. And maybe we could, Doctor, maybe we could put you to work for a few minutes here and ask you to go to the center table. And Mr. Koretz, were there some other staff or?
Yeah, I don't think I had a question for Ms. Jones. I had a question for staff.
Well, let's bring up the appropriate staff. And as when Mr. Koretz finishes, I'm going to ask you if you'd say a few words.
Good morning, council members. Monica Castillo with the City Attorney's Office. To address your question, Councilmember Koretz, for the soft story regulations, the timelines begin to tick when the initial order is served by the Department of Building and Safety. 1 year after that is served, the building owners need to submit a structural analysis for review to the Department of Building and Safety. Once that has been done, they have a total of 2 years from when the order was served to obtain permits. So after that, there's another 7-year time limit from which the order has been served. That's 7 years to complete all retrofit work. So if they wait to the last minute to get their building permits at that 2-year mark, they have a minimum of 5 years to begin and finish construction work for a total of 7 years.
Very good. I think that's a very fair allocation, and I think that should work for everybody. So that's great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask Bob. I'm going to call on Bob Blumenfield, and then I would like to get Dr. Jones to share her thoughts with us. Go right ahead, Mr. Blumenfield.
Great. Well, I wanted to start. This is such an important issue, and I want to thank the mayor for raising it, Mr. Cedillo, all the members of the council for and the committee for really working hard on making this happen. We all know the old adage, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And for me, this is very personal on the earthquake issues. Back in '94, I was working for Howard Berman at the time. I was his legislative director, and the earthquake changed my life like it changed everybody's life, because when it happened, it was in the center of our district. People talked about the district becoming a ghost town, never again having the valley the way it was going to be. Mr. Englander described some of the consequences of the earthquake. But then for the next year and a half, my job changed, and I stopped from just working on getting the financial aid, which, by the way, was $14 billion going into one small area, the largest federal infusion of funds to date that we were able to get. And I spent the next year and a half working with businesses and nonprofits and communities to try to rebuild. And I saw all those soft-story buildings that had collapsed. I saw and met with a lot of the people whose lives had been devastated. Now, we were very fortunate. We were able to build back. And in many ways, it's because we had a strong federal government at the time with FEMA being at its apex, with James Lee Witt, Clinton, and people had focused on FEMA. But if that had happened at a later point in time, and we had the Katrina FEMA with Brownie and Michael Brown at the helm, we would have been like New Orleans. We would have been left high and dry. And it's important to know that, because we can't just expect the federal government and others to come riding to our rescue. We need to be prepared. And a motion like this, which is aggressive, getting ourselves better prepared, is going to make sure that regardless of what administration, God forbid there's a Donald Trump or someone like that in the White House who may not care about the left coast, as it is to speak. We may be in real trouble, and we're going to have to rely on ourselves. So I think this is an amazing first step. It's the most aggressive we have probably in the nation in terms of doing this. It's something we need to put the gas on. We know we're going to have another event. We need to be prepared in multiple ways. And this is not only aggressive, but it's reasonable. It puts a reasonable time frame on it. It sets the ball in motion, along with the state tax credit in place and PACE financing and some other critical elements. We're going to get everyone through this. We're going to make it feasible for landlords and for tenants to make it happen. But most importantly, we're going to make it safe for our residents. We're going to make ourselves more secure for when the next disaster happens, and we're going to be more prepared. So again, I thank Dr. Jones for bringing this forward and getting the ball rolling with all of your analysis, and the mayor for taking a bold step, and then the council for just jumping in and making it happen. And I strongly urge an aye vote.
Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President, and also thank you, Mr. Cedillo, and all the members of the Housing Committee, the Mayor's Office for exhibiting great leadership on this, and what a great process you've come up with in terms of just passing the mandate now, so we send a clear signal that this badly needed ordinance will be in place. Just a couple of things that I'm sure the committee is dealing with, and I think that need to be expressed publicly, some concerns I have certainly in relation to the Ellis Act. And this body is deliberating on how to best reform how we deal with Ellis Act evictions. It's a real issue. For example, since 2001, there have been nearly 3,000 properties that have invoked the Ellis Act that have resulted in nearly 20,000 units of affordable housing, rent-stabilized ordinance housing, taken off the market. Now, the state law, Ellis Act, allows landlords to evict tenants when they leave the business. We want to make sure that when we invoke this ordinance and then we strike that balance in terms of the funding for making these retrofits happen, that we keep in mind that we're also going to keep landlords in the business of staying landlords, and by extension, will protect untold numbers of rent-stabilized units. I know several council districts have a high percentage of rental units. In the 13th district, it's over 80%. So I have my residents deeply in mind in considering this ordinance moving forward. Something else I think that we need to just keep in the ether for discussion is AB 428. Will it go into effect? Will it be signed? There are certain challenges with that in terms of it not being fully funded, how that will apply to the city of Los Angeles, and at what level will that provide the right kind of formula so that we can actually fund the thousands and thousands of structures that need to be seismically retrofitted. So one of the things that I have done is I have a motion circulating to amend instructing the Department of Building and Safety and the CAO to report on the status of the implementation of this ordinance every 6 months. And I think that will go a long ways in just making sure that we are all fully briefed at all times on how this actually lands and how it actually affects everyday Angelenos who live in these structures by the tens of thousands, and so that they can anticipate their own future where they live, and us as policymakers can really have a clear way forward as we, again, decide the whole financing plan to make this happen. I'm convinced by this process that has been set forward that we have every ability to strike that right balance that is going to be fair and equitable to the property owners and to the tens of thousands of tenants who live in these buildings. So, again, thank you for this incredible work. I look forward to more information as it comes along, and I really commend, and Lucy Jones, wherever you went, thank you so much. You've really schooled me on this issue by coming into my office a couple of times, and I feel much more informed because of your incredible work over the years. You're a great resource for all of us. Again, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the staff. Thank you for all of your hard work. You can move to the side, but again, we appreciate. We'd be nothing if we didn't have you guys backing us up. So we appreciate the work that you've done. I'd like to ask Dr. Jones now to come forward, and I'm going to call on Mr. Englander has some information, I think, for this body.
I want to ask that we all join in congratulating Dr. Jones. Just a couple days ago, she won, this is phenomenal, the Samuel J. Hyman Service to America Medal and Citizen Service Award. Now, this is, for those of you that don't know, it's often called the Oscars of government service. And only 8 people, in fact, have received this prestigious White House award, and it was for her leadership, her lifelong work, and the recent Resilience by Design report and plan that she authored for all of us. So want to just give her a huge round of applause.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our Oscar award-winning doctor.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. And congratulations on getting to this point. And I'm just really, I'm honored that you listened. I got an award for translating science. It doesn't matter to translate it if there's no one that has the courage to listen to the information and act on it. So none of this would have happened without the city being willing to take it on. And I do, Los Angeles led the way more than 30 years ago in the first ever retrofitting law for unreinforced masonry buildings. Because of it, nobody died in a masonry building in the Northridge earthquake. You're now taking another really big step, and there's going to be some future earthquake that if this passes, we'll be saying nobody died in this earthquake because of the action that the council took. This really is about a very fundamental. We know the buildings that will kill people. We don't know when the earthquake will happen near them that will cause them to fall down, but we know what those buildings are. And that's what this is all about. And I want to thank you for taking action on it.
Again, thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Okay, let us prepare to Mr. Cedillo, you want to
Summarize what we're doing here.
Go right ahead.
The aid of the city attorney. What we're doing is protecting the lives of the residents of the city of Los Angeles. We're improving our capacity to respond to earthquakes. We're preparing the city to recover when earthquakes happen. And we're protecting the economy of the city and all of Southern California. Mr. President, this is our modest endeavor for today. I want to move this ordinance as amended, and I want to move this super forthwith so that we can get about the business.
Well, let's vote on it. All right, members, or Madam Clerk, would you please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote?
12 ayes.
That means it passes. Now we've got to vote on the urgent forthwith. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, congratulations to the mayor, to the committee, and to this council. Great, great work. It's not every day that you have an opportunity to save lives. And today we had that opportunity. Mr. Harris Dawson, I was trying to remember what Gilbert called you, but anyway, the floor belongs to Mr. Harris Dawson.
You guys used to being behind the scenes. You got to get in front of the scenes today. Thank you so much, Mr. President and members. I rise today very excited to bring the Living Legends Foundation to the City Council and celebrate the tremendous work that they've done in the entertainment industry, especially for minorities and women. The original purpose of the foundation was to recognize and honor legendary music and radio industry figures that have distinguished themselves by their contributions as trailblazers, trendsetters, teachers, and mentors. Over the years, the foundation expanded its mission from just recognizing the achievement of the trailblazers of yesterday to providing assistance to those who have fallen on hard times. Unlike the corporate giants and record industry titans of today, many folks back in the day didn't have 401k options. They were left without insurance, retirement, and other benefits to sustain them when their careers were less hot or less on the front page. So this organization has provided over $100,000 in assistance to those in need through corporate contributions and individual donations, but also from the sale of tickets to the annual Living Legends Dinner, which is being held tonight at the Taglian Center in Councilmember O'Farrell's district this evening. And so they're holding their fundraiser in our town to continue to support those folks. I wanted to bring them here today because the music business is such an important business to this city and to our economy. From the time that Motown picked up roots and moved from Detroit and settled here in Los Angeles to today, when Angelenos continue to revolutionize the music industry, it's been an integral part of what we do. And these are the folks whose names don't appear on the front of album covers. They don't get director credits for videos, but they make sure the business of the industry is taken care of. Everybody gets paid. The buildings are booked. The security is done, and all the details are taken care of. So we have a number of folks here that we have resolutions for, but I want to invite the chairman of the foundation, Mr.
You know what, Mr. Harris Dawson? Yes, we want to give you recognition. So I want to ask everybody to give them the round of applause that they deserve, working behind the scenes, making dreams become a reality. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Weston and members. We want to call to make a few comments on behalf of the foundation. Its chairman, Mr. David Linton. Come on up.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, City Council members, Councilman Dawson, and in the absence of the mayor of the city. It's an honor to be here and to thank you for this recognition. Los Angeles is without the doubt the entertainment capital of the world, and the ladies and gentlemen of this foundation comprise the Living Legends Foundation, and we've had the fortune to help discover, market, and present some of the biggest artists in the world, many who recorded for the great record companies here in California, but more specifically in Los Angeles, including the iconic Capitol Records. We've been doing business here for 24 years, where we were founded, and it's a pleasure for us to continue to do business here. And we hope that by the work that we do, we will encourage young men and women to see that there are opportunities behind the scenes, not only to be singers and entertainers, but to be executives. And so we thank you for this honor, and we look forward to continuing to do more work here in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
So once again, for the Living Legends Foundation, these are the folks that make sure the beat goes on. Thank you all so much. Sorry. I've got a list of proclamations I got to call out. So we got Mr. David Linton. We've got Varnell Johnson. We've got Mr. C.C. Evans. These are the officers. Miss C.C. Evans. These are the officers of the Living Legends Foundation. We've got Mr. James Leach, Kendall Mentor, Mr. Logan Westbrooks.
In fact, Mr. Harris Dawson, I'm going to call on Mr. Price for a moment.
Mr. President, I just want to thank Councilman Harris Dawson for bringing this group before us today. The foundation has done an extraordinary job in providing positive role models and really encouraging our young people to excel, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera. So I, too, just am very proud to recognize you today. It's a pleasure to see all of you and just to know the wealth of contributions that you've made over the years and continue to make. So keep up the good work.
Thank you all. Okay, do we have any other business before this body, Madam Clerk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, let us post. They are posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Okay, announcements. Members' announcements. Yes, Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you. It's a heat wave again, and so I encourage everyone to check out the cooling centers on the city website. Also, the Hollywood swimming pool open to the end of October on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, from 1 to 5 p.m. over on Cole, just north of Santa Monica Boulevard. Jump in the pool this weekend in Hollywood. It is open.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Seeing none, if I could ask everyone to please rise. Everyone in the council chambers, please rise. Adjourning motions. I'm going to look to my right. I don't see any to my right. I'm going to look to Mr. Bloomingfield.
No, he's not here. Thank you. One of our city family members recently lost his mother-in-law. Our executive officer of building and safety, Frank Bush, and his family is suffering the passing of Mary Ellen Finch. Mary was born April 17th, 1928, and she passed away October 4th, 2015, right here in Reseda, nearby. She was born in Michigan, but she became a longtime resident of the San Fernando Valley when she moved to what she didn't know then would become my district here in Reseda back in 1960. She was known to be very loving, and she cared for her family. She always made sure that her family was well taken care of before her own personal needs were met. She set a great example for Frank to follow. Those of us who know Frank well know that he's followed that well, and in fact he and his wife had the privilege of having her live with them during her final years. where he got to be reminded that she was an excellent cook, as he mentioned to me that cookies and cakes and pies were her specialty. She was also a very creative artist and inspired her children and grandchildren to also be successful and creative. She was preceded in death by her husband, Neelan Wendell Finch, and one of her sons, Larry Finch. She is survived by her daughter Judy and her son-in-law Frank Bush of Reseda, daughters Carol Finch Shimbody of Pasadena, and two sons, Bob Finch of Oregon and Ron Finch of Idaho. Memorial services for Mrs. Mary Ellen Finch will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday, October 10th at Nations Church Los Angeles in Northridge. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you, Frank, and your entire family. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Bloomingfield. So any other adjourning motions? I'm looking to my left. Let me look to my right. I don't see any. Members, this meeting is adjourned.